There's a small corner of North Warwickshire countryside where you can view the worn, weathered ruins of a medieval priory and visit a magnificent, moated red sandstone castle. Wonderful places that are treasure troves of architecture, history, and local legend, and which are also hotspots for ghostly encounters. Join me as I visit Maxstoke's Priory and Castle and uncover the haunted heritage of these historic sites. Maxstoke is a hamlet in Warwickshire and known for two significant medieval buildings. The first, an Augustinian priory, and the second, a 14th century moated castle. Standing about 2 miles apart, they were connected by one powerful man, William de Clinton, 1st Earl of Huntingdon and a friend of Edward III, who built the priory and was then granted a licence by the king to build a defensive dwelling at Maxstoke. It was in 1342 that the priory, dedicated to the Holy Trinity, the Blessed Virgin, St Michael and All Saints, was consecrated. It grew rapidly. De Clinton was allowed to appropriate the local church and manor at Shusstoke, and the priory was later gifted the churches at Fillongley, Yardley and Aston Cantlow, making it a valuable ecclesiastical manor. The monks of Maxstoke Priory were not expected to live the pious or pure life of an ascetic, though. Records show that they received wages, had servants, and weren't denied any food or drink that they wanted, including meat and ale. They were also visited by travelling entertainers like actors, jugglers, and singers. On one occasion, even a necromancer dropped by to amuse them by speaking with the dead. Perhaps unsurprisingly, locals lodged complaints against them, but these had little effect on the marauding monks. In 1399, one of the brothers killed another in what he claimed was an act of self-defence. A year later, Sir William Beauchamp, who lived in the manor house at Aston Cantlow, alleged that the prior of Maxstoke had orchestrated a break-in at his property and attacked his men. The thieves took goods and cash in the assault. Sir William won the right to have a judge hear a criminal case against the brothers, at which point the prior tried to bribe his way out of trouble. By the time of the dissolution in 1536, there were only 7 monks at Maxstoke Priory, though they had 26 servants to look after them. The loss of such a luxurious lifestyle must have been hard for the brothers to bear. Once they had gone, leaving the priory empty and abandoned, its altar stone moved to St Mary and All Saints in Fillongley. It has been said that the spirits of some Maxstoke monks moved with it. How else to explain the creepy cowled figures and uncanny chanting reported so often at this otherwise peaceful church? Misty, hooded figures walk through the building, and one stands by the porch door, melting into thin air when approached. Some parishioners report an invisible force pushing against them as they walk towards the church, a strong physical resistance in the air. And one skeptic, who'd tried to stay the night in the Lady Chapel, fled the building at midnight, refusing to say what he had seen or to ever set foot in the church again. The ruins of the priory itself are, these days, private property. You can see the remains of the gatehouse from the road, however, and some of the north wall of the tower, and it seems likely that at least some of the brothers have stayed at their old home, as ghostly figures appear here too, accompanied by discorporate chanting and the sound of busy footsteps echoing around the site. William de Clinton's other project, Maxstoke Castle, has been treated more kindly by the passage of time. In splendid condition, it remains a private, fortified home, complete with a fabulous moat, now occupied by the Fetherston-Dilke family, and opened to the public on occasion to raise funds for charity. As expected from a property nearly 700 years old, Maxstoke Castle has some interesting tales to tell. Richard III slept here in 1485 before his last battle at Bosworth. And legend has it that his successor, Henry VII, stayed the next night on his way back, victorious, from the same fight. Oliver Cromwell had it garrisoned with 50 soldiers during the Civil War, but the castle suffered no siege and no destruction. The ornately carved whispering door that leads to the oak drawing room was rescued from Kenilworth Castle after that wonderful building was slighted by the parliamentarians. During World War I, it became a 24-bed convalescent hospital for wounded soldiers, and in World War II was requisitioned by the War Office as accommodation before being used for the storage of aircraft parts. In the interwar years, a country club leased the castle, installing tennis courts and a swimming pool, the latter now an ornamental garden. There are 4 towers at Maxstoke, positioned at each corner: the Kitchen Tower, Dairy Tower, Dead Man's Tower, and Lady Tower. One might expect Dead Man's Tower to have the most macabre history. And indeed, one story tells of the discovery of a mysterious skeleton in its foundations. But it is the Lady Tower, sited on the northwest corner, where the eeriest events unfold. Spectral sightings here centre on the Lady Tower's staircase. One tale has it that this area is haunted by a young man. Killed by his brother in an altercation over a bag of gold, he now throws open doors at midnight, maybe searching for a way to leave the unhappy scene of his murder. The more well-known legend is that the tower's ghost is Mary Dilke, the wife of Ward Dilke. Ward owned Maxstoke Castle between 1669 and 1728, and he married Mary, the daughter of Sir Edward Littleton, in 1697. According to the castle's official guidebook, Mary was temperamental and probably died after falling down the staircase in the Lady Tower. A newspaper article from 1980 provides more detail. In 1710, Mary was arguing with her husband when she slipped backwards and broke her neck. A further article from 1984 reports that the Fetherston-Dilke family history has it that she missed her footing while arguing with her husband about money. Yes, it would seem that Mary was in such a rage that she threw her housekeeping money out of a window and lost her footing, falling down the steep, winding stairs of the Lady Tower to her death. Charles Fetherston-Dilke, who owned Maxstoke Castle between 1968 and 1987, claimed that he believed in the spectral presence of Mary Dilke, and whilst his dog refused to enter the Lady Tower, he said the ghost didn't make any trouble for him, and he was happy for her to stay. Some visitors have, however, been less comfortable in her company. One reported that the Lady Tower's chamber wasn't a room in which anyone would willingly spend the night, and that it was not a peaceful place. Another had to leave a tour of the castle because the paranormal force he felt was so painfully strong. Others are scared by the sudden appearance of a woman's pale face at windows on the north side of the castle. Moving more quickly than any human could, she flits between openings before fading into the ether. Looking along the glorious tree-lined approach to this beautiful castle, surrounded by happy, chattering crowds and with sunlight reflecting off the moat, I did wonder what life may have been like for Mary Dilke. Forever recorded as being just the volatile and argumentative wife of Ward Dilke, her name isn't even mentioned in the official guide sold at Maxstoke Castle. Maybe she was simply assertive in the face of unfairness, or responding in kind to an equally volatile husband. Women aren't always valued for their opinions, or lauded for displays of what would be called strength of character in a man. Perhaps there's a greater truth to be known about Mary, and that's why she hasn't yet moved on. As I conclude my journey through Maxstoke's haunted past, it's clear that both the Priory and the castle are rich with stories that blur the line between history and legend. These ancient walls have witnessed centuries of human drama, and their echoes continue to captivate and mystify those who visit. So the next time you find yourself in North Warwickshire, take a moment to explore these historic sites. You never know who or what you might encounter.